Well, there's a fight that's rumored to be happening this year. Paddy Pimblett versus Arman Sarukian.
Yeah, I looked into that, and it's supposed to just be a rumor, so it's like nothing official, right?
It's not official. Normally, when I see fights like that announced, 9 out of 10 times they become official in like a month or two of that being released.
How do you feel about them fighting? Because I feel like I don't have a problem with them fighting each other, but I would like to see them not be blemished if they're fighting Ilia Topuria. Like, I feel like I want to see Paddy Pimblett be undefeated. I don't know if he's undefeated, but I don't want to see him lose before
I don't
fighting
think
Ilia.
so.
And I don't want to see Arman lose before fighting Ilia. So them fighting each other kind of like solidifies the fact that somebody's going to be a loser after this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean they both have losses on their record, so it doesn't really matter. But I would say the way Ilya's been moving lately, he's been like kind of like he been letting that power get to him, right? So like I feel like if Arman loses to Paddy or vice versa, they're not gonna fight Ilya while he's champion because Ilya gonna be like, nah,
You
I'm
lost
not
your
doing
chance.
that. Are you yeah? So like I feel like in that sense it's gonna hurt them. It would have to be the UFC forcing him to fight whoever loses, in the
Yeah.
future.
True. So I mean, I'm happy to see him fight either one of them, but I do want him to fight Justin Gaethje next. I think that's a fun fight. Get his feet wet.
Yeah.
Fun stylistic matchup. Justin Gaethje, he's head offline throwing bombs. He's coming to
Yeah.
box. He's not looking to wrestle. Ilya's not looking to wrestle. Ilya's coming to throw his hands, but he will mix in some wrestling. So I think
Yeah,
that's a
if he has
really
to.
good first fight for him to have. What you think?
I think so too, and I think the fact that even though it's a rumored right now, um, like I said, it's pretty safe to say that that's going to be official very soon. So that kind of guarantees that Gaethje, cried himself into a title shot. He been bitching a lot, so
Let
now
him
he's getting
retire
the
after
title shot.
this. Take your loss and then just retire. Good. It was a
Yeah,
great
because there's nothing else. He's not going to get a title shot again if he loses this one.
No. So fights that we didn't talk about, we already spoke about the Hamza versus DDP fight, so there's nothing really to talk about there. We're just gonna see what happens with that fight. I'm pretty sure we both had DDP, but we didn't talk about the Lerone Murphy versus
Laura
Aaron Pico.
Murphy and Aaron Pico. I mean, honestly, I feel like Lerone Murphy is getting disrespected in this fight because even though like we're not betters, but the odds suggest who the majority of people believe is going to win.
Yeah.
And Lerone Murphy is the underdog, which I think is very disrespectful because he's actually been Pico is good, right? But we don't know how good he is. We'll find out Saturday, right? Lerone Murphy has already shown the caliber of fighter he is because he's in the UFC fighting the best in the world.
And
He's dealt with
he's been
adversity.
winning already.
Exactly. He's dealt with adversity. He's overcome adversity. He's been in dog fights. He's been in strategic fights. He's kind of already showed us he's the real deal. So the fact that he's an underdog is very disrespectful. And also the way that they're talking about Pico is very reminiscent to how they were talking about Patchy Mix. Prior to Patchy Mix stepping into that,
I don't know about that.
yeah, listen though. Prior to Patchy stepping into that octagon, they were saying he's a top 5 UFC fighter. They said that he could step in there and potentially win a title in the UFC off rip, right? They were
Yeah.
talking real like highly of him. And then when he went in there, regardless of the reasoning, he shit the bed. Like he didn't do good, right? And then with Aaron Pico, there's he's obviously the favorite. They're putting him in a co-main event of a massive pay-per-view in his debut. They're saying a lot, and they're
This is
also
a title
saying
eliminator,
more.
right?
Huh?
This is
It's
this
a
is a
title
title
eliminator,
eliminator.
yes. It's a title eliminator. That's another thing. So they're
Okay.
saying a lot without actually saying much.
You know what's crazy about that? Wasn't Pitbull the champion in Bellator when he left?
I believe so. He was the
He was a champ,
was
right?
he
He was not
he was
not a
the
champ when he left,
exactly, and so was Patchy.
and he left and fought like a number what? What was Ige ranked? Like under 10?
No, that was his second fight. That was
His
that was his
first fight
second fight.
was
His first
against
fight was Yair, top 5.
top 5. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes
But
sense.
he also fumbled. He didn't do good in his first fight. So recent history has shown us that these Bellator guys, at the very least in their debuts, they fumble more than they succeed. And that's recent history, and that's just history in general. Name Bellator fighter that made his debut that actually succeeded in
All right,
a
just
high level fight.
MVP did pretty decent, but it wasn't. I mean, he
But
did it against Kevin. Who was it
against
against?
Kevin Holland. But if you look at when Eddie Alvarez debuted against Cowboy, lost. Yes, he redeemed himself. He became champion. But what I'm saying is that Bellator guys, more times than not, when they debut, they fumble. So I think the UFC, I mean, they're a promoter, so they're going to do their job. But I think that they should pump the brakes a little bit with all the praise because you're not official till you go to the UFC. And I don't care what anybody says. You're not official till you come to the UFC. And
It's kind of like the problem is that like we said before, if they want somebody to be a star, they have to bet. They have to go big or go home. If they talk all this about somebody and he comes over here and backs it up, they just created a superstar.
but
But if
I
he
had this comment.
loses, it's like whatever.
But that's what I'm saying. Look at Patchy. Patchy had everything that people were saying about Patchy. He lost, it died out. Ain't
I mean, he
nobody
was
talking
supposed
about
to
it.
be like a Michael Chandler if you think about it. Michael Chandler had all this hype, and then
Yeah,
he knocked out who did he knock out again?
Dan Hooker.
Then he knocked out Dan Hooker, and boom, superstar
Yeah,
instantly.
but the difference between the two is that Patchy was actually good at Bellator. Michael was just
He was already all right.
he was already what he was, right? But I think perfect example of what they should do is what they did with Renier de Ritter. Renier de Ritter, he came from FC as a 2 division champion, right? They didn't like give him high praise like they gave Patchy or like they're giving Aaron. And then also they gave him a nobody in his debut. His second fight was against Jared Milshart, who has some sort of a name, but he's like, I don't even think he's a 50-50 fighter, right? And then they gave him Kevin Holland, and then they gave him Whitaker. So they was gradually progressing the Ritter, right? And it worked out to their benefit because now they got a star, right? Who could be fighting for the title next. That's what they should be doing with these Bellator guys, but they're giving them high praise before they've even proven themselves. And you can say they proved themselves outside, but that don't matter until you in the UFC.
And do it under those lights against those opponents because they do have a nice pool of good competitors. Like I'll even say, like if you look at who what's his name, Aaron Pico was doing those things too. I mean, who was he doing it? Like who was he knocking
Exactly,
out?
man. And then also he got knocked out by one of those guys in Bellator.
Yeah, so I mean,
You know what I'm
they're good
saying?
wins. Not to take away from it, it's always a good win. But doing it in the UFC does make a difference because that top 10 is something serious.
And not only that, like you said, under those lights, the UFC lights is different than Bellator lights. You fought in Bellator, and even you hear guys like MVP talk about the differences between the UFC and Bellator. He said it's night and day. UFC is superstar type level. Like the way that they do everything is super like over the top. It's very, very, very big mainstream. Whereas Bellator,
I'm imagining
Bellator
the
is basically
difference would be
a
like
regional show in comparison to the
who
UFC.
pays you a lot, basically. It's like a regional show that pays you a lot of money.
Exactly. Like the level of production, just everything. It's just like Bellator is like
What do you
regional.
think like about the PFL fighters right now? Same thing, basically.
PFL, I would say, is even worse than Bellator because at least from a viewing standpoint from home, Bellator was a better viewing experience than PFL. PFL looks very like a YouTube quality promotion
I mean,
when
I
I'm
don't
watching
watch
it at home.
PFL at all, to be honest.
I
But
stopped watching it. I
yeah,
watched depending on who's fighting, but when I used to watch it, it just kind of threw me off the visual from home. Like the production quality is just not the greatest. So Bellator had to beating that, right?
yeah. And I feel like
But
Bellator did a better job. I mean, they weren't the greatest at promotion, but they're better than PFL. PFL
way
at the
better.
promotion, oh my goodness. You
And
don't
I
even
hate
know
the
who's fighting when, ever, like never.
yes, they don't they have a card coming up, and I only saw it because I just randomly went on Instagram and then it just happened to pop up. But
That's rare.
had I not seen that post, I'd have never known about it. That they're doing the rematch with Usman and Paul Hughes.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to touch on that as well. So like, there are some good fighters over there. Like for example, Thad, the 170-pound champ, he just won the belt against Logan Storley.
Yeah.
That boy is good. That
And
is really good.
the guy that beat the middleweight champion.
The one that Johnny Eblen just lost, right?
Yeah, just beat Johnny Eblin.
Johnny Eblen's UFC caliber for sure.
Yes,
He's
and the
really,
guy that beat him, like he proved up. I don't even remember his name, but
I don't know his name either.
what he did to Eblin,
But I
nobody
heard he
saw
just
that
came
coming.
back though. I heard he just kind of came back at the end and just got some
And he
nonsense win.
slept him, bro. He put him to sleep.
But it was like some
Put his
lucky
lights
stuff
out.
at the end, right?
Regardless, nobody was doing that to Eblin.
Yeah, Johnny Eblen dog walked what's his name? Leon. What is it? The middleweight, the one that
Fabian Edwards, right?
he beat
Fabi,
Fabian Edwards. Yep, and
Fabian,
he
yeah,
also beat what's that legend? I forget his name. Like, he moves real slow, hella like lazy in the ring. I forget his name. He's like a legend. He came from the
can't
UFC.
remember. I can't
But
remember.
anyways, Evelyn took the belt off of some dude, whatever his name is. I don't know. I guess it's irrelevant, right? Nobody knows. If we don't know his name, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, he's
But
irrelevant.
Evelyn's a good fighter nonetheless. The dude that beat him is a good fighter. I think Fabian's a good fighter. I don't know about top 10 in the UFC, but he'd probably be like 10 to 20 in the UFC.
I would
And
say
then
so.
definitely, we need Usman
Paul
in the
Hughes.
UFC. Usman Nurmagomedov needs to be in the UFC, and we need Paul Hughes in the UFC, and we need Thad from 170 pounds in the UFC. We also need Jason Jackson in the UFC.
He used to be in the UFC, but that was like, I feel like when he was in the UFC initially, Jason Jackson,
Yeah.
it wasn't his time.
Nah. Now though, he's
He's a lot
older
better
now.
now.
It sucks. He's older. Like I feel like the best
Yeah,
is probably going to be.
but I think him being older, I don't even think the age is a factor, and I don't think age is a factor depending on the person, right?
Yeah.
Because Jason Jackson is older now and he's better now. When he was younger, and he won, and he
His
came off
skills
the
showed up. That's why.
because he was in the Ultimate Fighter back in the day, and he didn't win the Ultimate Fighter, but he was in the Ultimate Fighter in the season with Kamaru Usman, and then he got a contract with the UFC. Couple fights, he got cut. He was younger, but like you said, the skill set
34
just
now.
didn't.
He got a few years. He's 34.
Exactly.
Anderson
Like
Silva
you said,
came
the
to the
skill
UFC
set
at
caught up.
32.
Yeah.
So we need Jason Jackson, we need Thad, we need Usman Nurmagomedov, and we need Paul Hughes.
Paul Hughes.
And I also think AJ McGee should come over as well, just
I don't even
because
care about seeing
he
him in the
believes in
UFC.
himself. He believes in himself, and also he just won a fight, and he did have like a 19-0 record at one point. He's a good fighter nonetheless.
I wouldn't. If he comes, I'll watch it, but he's not a fighter that I necessarily care if he came or if he didn't.
I would just like to see him test himself. I think he is a winner, and he only has one loss. No, he has two losses, and one of those are really arguable. I think he's a good fighter. So I think all those fight people need to go. But for sure, though, like for sure, we need Thad, Usman, and Paul Hughes. Like they need to come now. 155 needs Paul Hughes and Usman. The fact that they're even tied up in that promotion over there is just. Unless they really need the money, because I'm betting they're probably getting paid really good compared to what they'll get paid when they get signed to the UFC.
Well,
but
I mean, I can see Usman Nurmagomedov getting paid good in the UFC just because
they're gonna take care of him.
He's the cousin of Habib. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is the perfect time as well to come to the UFC because
Islam just left.
Because Islam left, so you don't have he won't stand in his way of getting into a title.
And he believes in himself. He's kind of a little arrogant, little arrogant.
Yeah.
But I think if he try to go in there against Ilia,
we established that it's night for anybody who fights Ilia.
I mean, yeah, but just stylistically, I mean, if you've seen what Paul Hughes did to Usman Nurmagomedov, Paul Hughes is really good, but his style is very similar to Ilia. Ilia has one hitter quitters though, so exactly. I feel like it'd be the same thing except for. When Ilia hits Usman, he's going out.
Exactly.
But I think Paul Hughes versus Ilia, that's a fun fight.
Yeah, I think I feel like they're gonna come to the UFC at some point. I just see it happening because you think about like all of the big guys in PFL/Bellator, they're leaving, right? They're leaving that promotion for whatever reason, some reasons we know, some we don't. So, but I think it's only a matter of time before those guys leave PFL.
1 second, Steve.